Okay, so the article we did was "Is There a Cheater's High" by Romeo Vitelli. So our main idea was supposed to be basically why do people cheat? What's the purpose behind it? What's the benefits to it? What do people get from it? So the first thing we wanted to talk about before we move into that broader topic is it says in the article, it says that the cheater's high really comes into the main effect when it's a victimless crime. Why?
Well, you
Why
know,
is that?
Zach, when it's a victimless crime and you're not really hurting any one person, you don't really feel any guilt because society is such a big entity, and like you don't think you're hurting anything that much.
Yeah,
you
like
have-
when you're
okay.
playing chess, and then when you accidentally knock off a piece, and you're like, "Oh, can you get that for me?" And then they reach down and get it, and then you swap their king and queen position.
That was very specific, but okay.
Yeah, and then
No,
they don't
that's
notice,
what-
and then they don't
Not
notice,
funny.
and you're just like.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, that
Well,
makes sense. Like, it's real world, but what, I mean, puts that so much more than like, because that's not a victimless crime. That's directly against someone else. So like, either way, you're still feeling the effects, but why is it more so with victimless crime?
I don't know if it's necessarily victims, but like the severity of the crime. Such as like if you were to cheat on something such as like the SAT or something, like your score wouldn't feel valid. Like it doesn't feel like complete, or like you did it by yourself. Whereas like if you just cheat during a card game, the impact of it isn't as big. You're just winning something as simple as a card game, not cheating your way into a college.
And you know, here's the problem, right? Sorry, I had to cut you off. Here's the problem, right? I said, why is it that when it's victimless, the cheater's high is more? You just gave me a victimed crime where the cheater's high was in effect, and a victimless crime where it wasn't in effect.
And
It's
I
the
was-
exact opposite of what
I was
said.
just about to answer that. You know,
Thank you.
Human beings are like hardwired. You know, it's in our primitive brains to feel compassion for other human beings.
Stop talking like that.
So you know, when we like feel that we're directly harming another human being, that primitive part of our brains will
really have
make
to
us
stop
feel
this.
guilt.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense.
Are you saying that we are still
We
animals?
really had to. Like,
Repeat that,
fuck
Chris.
this.
You don't have to say it.
Okay. Number 3.
Don't need to say that number.
He said he's gonna number
No.
We've been filming for like 2 minutes. Let's restart.
Well,
No.
no.
Okay.
Be quiet. Chris, continue.
Okay. Okay. Are you saying that like humans don't have like enough, like they're not distinguished enough from animals to like not be able to not have cheater's high? Like,
In fact, Chris, I am saying that because
So,
okay.
okay, so are you saying that animals have a cheater's high in their brains?
no, I'm saying that humans have a cheater's high because humans are the most intelligent animals, and you can't escape your primal instincts.
But then that means that
okay, so you're saying our primal instincts give us a cheater's high?
No, our primal instincts make us feel compassion for other humans during victim crime.
Okay,
You know,
got you.
I
I got you.
That's what I was
Trying to
saying.
get
I
at-
wasn't saying
Okay,
those are
yeah,
the cause of
wait,
our cheater's high.
What I think Sehon's trying to get at is the fact that humans are more intelligent, they're more aware of what's happening with our actions, whereas animals, they survive mainly off of like, if you will, the id, because it's just like what they need to live. It's not thinking about other people. They don't have the same like brain structure that we do.
You're
Which
surviving.
means, yeah, exactly, they just survive. Which means that they don't cheat necessarily, whereas we do, and we feel bad or good when we do cheat.
Well, okay, well, I get that. So, we're more socially aware, which is why victimless crimes seem less wrong to us, and the cheater's high is in greater effect. But then, if we go back to the primal example, the primitive example, I mean, wouldn't it make sense that animals would cheat if they're just out to survive? It's all about survival for the self. Wouldn't it make sense that they would be the ones to cheat, be the ones to deceive?
But are there rules in the animal world?
It's a good point. There are likely rules. I mean, one that like a lot of people know is like there's no fighting at a watering hole, stuff like that. But I'm talking cheating just in general, like if it's like if I don't know, a lion goes to kill their prey and another lion steals that prey. Wouldn't that make sense?
It's not. It's cheating, but that's what they need to live. So I don't think humans don't need to cheat on a card game to live.
And Zach, I have to
Okay,
object to your analogy
actually,
there.
could-
Since
okay,
lions are
that-
pride animals,
Because
I'm
if you have no
stealing from
money, you
another
just put the
pride.
rest of it. If you don't
it's
win,
completely
then you're gonna.
legitimate.
And
Not to like focus on like, specifics and stuff, but the thing is, lions, if they were to steal it, they aren't necessarily thinking about how the other lions are gonna feel. They don't have the intelligence like humans do. So it's not the same situation.
alright, well, okay, that makes sense then.
This reminds me of that video that Mr. Carlone had us watch about like the is there like a thing that we can learn like from animals like empathy or something? And like how like dogs don't care if you like got like fired from your job or whatever it was. I don't know. Like I was thinking, like the animals don't like since they are not like human and don't like really care about the things that like we care about. Like they don't need a couch, they don't need stairs or a building to live in. You know, and they don't need to go work at a job. They just survive. Like just cheaters high is like probably just strictly only a human thing, and if an animal cheats, that's us observing the animal, so we would call that cheating, but to an animal that might just be like a rule even, like there are no rules.
Okay, so I think what we've like kind of understood from this smaller topic of the broader one is that the cheetah's high seems to only apply to humans due to animals not having the same instincts as humans do and intelligence. They're more on like the id and just trying to survive, which means that cheetah's high seems to be coming from like our intelligence and like our way of like interpreting things, which means that Ozark only applies to humans. So what I'm wondering is like going back to like what Zach was saying earlier is like what causes like the cheetah's high, I guess.
Well, okay. So, what constitutes high, if we're saying that it's only for humans, and it's because we're so intelligent, I would say the choose high is caused by those higher level thinking, the ego and the superego, things that only we really have. But the thing that's interesting about that to me is if that's where we're saying the cheater's high comes from, those are also the parts of our mind that are wired for empathy and compassion and caring for others. So it's like conflict, and I think it makes sense that the cheater's high would come from those areas of the brain. But how does it draw back to the basis of the superego and ego of compassion and empathy?
I would say that cheaters high is just the wrong type of stimulation, you know? So like, I was gonna say like, it might come from the ego and superego because the superego was like, whoa. I mean, it's not gonna be like that, but it's gonna be like, whoa dude, that was wrong. Like there's a potential danger. And then it will like tell your body kind of like mentally like, uh-oh, and be prepared for something to happen. And then people might mistake that like tension for excitement and like success, like, oh, I just got away with it. And then because you like that feeling, you get like hooked onto the rush of whatever chemicals. Wait, what are they? Hormones? Anything that you can get that is released from that, then you might get addicted to that feeling and try to look for that stimulation by cheating. And then as like it showed in a different study, is it this one? Like where it's like about the money and like you lie about how much money there is and you get that difference. And then it said like the more people lied to get money, the like less active their amygdala got. Yeah.
So I think like to connect this to what Chris is kind of saying is when you think about cheating is only used to benefit yourself. You're using it to like win a game, do better on a test, something that benefits you, which means that might be part of the reason that there is a cheater's high, because when you get a good feeling, it releases the endorphins, which causes you to feel good that you're doing good on something. Like you might not necessarily thinking like with the superego of like rationally of like it's wrong, but you get that good feeling of doing good. So,
Yeah. When you know you're guaranteed to be doing right, like that will make you feel good. So I agree with you on that one.
Okay, I wanna, so we've determined the basis of like what parts do what. But the thing I wanna draw back to is the reason we get this cheater's high I think a lot of the cheating and the immoral action has to do with our ego versus our super ego. Those are the two parts that only we really have as advanced humans. But the ego is based around the real world. It's, what can I do to help myself in a social concept, right? While the super ego is the moral part. It's the part that says, hey, give to charity. Don't cheat and screw over whoever. So I want to talk about why, what parts of those two separate parts of our brain, the ego and the superego, what creates the cheater's high? Because if the cheater's high is based around, cheating and feeling a rush from it, it would be the ego. Then where does the superego come into play?
I think the cheater's high comes when the ego and the id are like more than the superego, because they're overriding your morality and they're just going for your benefit, because the ego is realistic, so it wants things that benefit you, and the id is also like instinctual, so it will also react positively to things that benefit you. So cheater's high happens when like the superego is smaller compared to those two.
That's actually a really good idea.
Thank you for that.
So
Like, I was mind blown for a little bit.
Wanna sit down?
I think what Chris is trying to say by that's a really, really good idea is the id is like your natural instinct to like help yourself out. And like I was saying earlier, that when you're having the cheater's high, it's like for yourself. So the id is taking control of saying like, I need to do good or I want to win this. It's your natural instinct. It's not your super ego going, oh, I need to, what if I like affect this other person, or what if it's not like actually winning, or actually it's not my true knowledge on this test. It's more of the id and the ego pulling through to be like, I need this.
And like when you're cheating, that could also modify like how substantial your id, superego, and ego are. Because when you realize you're not doing something, you're committing a victimless crime, and you're not hurting anyone, and you'll realize, well, this isn't that immoral after all. And then your superego will be like, you won't focus on that as much. And your id and ego, your ego will be realistic and say, I'm not hurting anyone, it's benefiting me, so what's the harm?
But then, that makes me think, like, then what is worthy of cheating for? Because like we were saying that, like, you don't need like a card game to survive or whatever, right? But and then you were saying like the grade on like a test, right? Then like knowing this, then like,
And I get what you're saying.
you know, right?
Yeah, you started with what's worth cheating for, and I like that. It's, because either way, it doesn't matter what you get the cheater's high from, but what spurs that? What actions really build up to that? And I think the main thing to note is I think it starts small, shooting at a card game, taking dung from your sister, I don't know, and it builds up to, theft, I don't know, tax evasion, bigger and bigger things. I think it starts small to make a base. You get that small endorphin rush. You think, oh, this is nice. And you keep going up until you're somewhere that you really shouldn't be.
Yeah, and the id is right here in the superego. When you start, the id only goes up a little bit, and this goes down. If you keep doing it, it keeps expanding, so you're at a point where there's no return, and that's very bad.
Yeah, I wanted to relate that to in the passage they talk about Frank Abagnale from Catch Me If You Can, the book and the movie. Notorious con artist, did a lot of things, identity theft, fraud of all sorts, theft, all of that. And he says, talking about the cheater's high and what he was doing when he was doing it, he said, I was heady with happiness. Since I hadn't yet had my first taste of alcohol, I couldn't compare the feeling to a champagne high, but it was the most delightful sensation I'd ever experienced. And I think it's important because it's like, he's not talking about, looking at some juicy fruit from the Walmart. He's talking about, like, flying a plane without anyone knowing. He's talking about completely becoming another person for like a week. He's talking about big things. federal crimes did,
Okay,
like I
wait.
said, I loved it.
And Frank,
Since
you continue.
okay. I was gonna say okay, there's like I feel like it's important, but he hasn't had champagne, so he can't compare the feeling. So I was gonna say, people drink champagne to get this high, right? Does that mean that since Frank hasn't had like the champagne, that he might be looking for the high from like something else instead, only because he hasn't felt it with anything else before?
Could be. I think the main thing is he hasn't felt it yet. So how would he know he's chasing that if he's never felt it? He's chasing some sort of high, some sort of emotional, high where he thinks, oh, this is such a great feeling. Chase this. But I would say you can't really relate it to like a drug high or an alcohol high, some sort of vice like that, because even though it's just as bad as an activity, it's not quite the same because he's not ever felt it. He doesn't know what he's chasing yet. If that were to be the case, I'm just gonna stand up for a charge.
A little bit is like so like the thing is, it's just it's the most delightful sensation he's ever experienced. Like there's nothing more that he's enjoyed than doing something as bad as these federal crimes and stuff like that. Why do you think that something like doing something this bad brings so much joy? So like, what do you guys think about that?
I think it brings that much joy because if you can commit such serious crimes and not get caught, you might start believing yourself to be like smart or really really good at doing it. And if you're good at doing something, then it's gonna make you happy.
And in his childhood, he probably followed all the rules, and so when he first experienced that, it was so different from everything that he was taught before that it was just good to feel.
Yeah, I get that. And like Zach was saying, he probably started smaller. And I like what you said earlier about the id and the super ego getting further and further apart to the point where there's like no return. Because like, it makes sense that like the worst crime you do, if you connect it back to, I believe it was Socrates who was saying, with the two horses near the chariot here, if you can't control the bad horse, like, and you're just like letting it like hold you back and stuff, it's once that all builds up, it's really hard to take it all back, I guess.
Yeah, once you give like the id too much control, then it just takes over.
Okay, well, I wanna draw back from the id and ego to because I feel like we've gone over that a fair amount.
Yeah.
I think what I want to focus on now is going farther into these real life examples. We talked about Frank Abagnale. He's had a movie and a book. It's a great example of this, but what are other examples that we can pull from this? Because I feel like that's where we're getting our deeper insight.
So,
What other examples?
Yeah, other real life examples.
an example for me, like, that I've cheated, so every, like, Thanksgiving, all my family comes over, and we play card game, right?
Cheat your
So-
family? Oh my God.
So, we like, you guys know the game Spoons, right?
Mhm.
So my uncle, he sat next to me, okay? And like at the start of every game, it is always he was like, well, he was like my great uncle. That's irrelevant. Anyway.
Well, like it's irrelative.
Okay, anyways. So the thing is, I noticed that like he was holding cards from previous games. Like he'd give all our cards back, but he would end up being like holding cards so he could like be assured to grab a spoon. And at the time, I didn't think of any harm. I thought it was kind of funny that he was doing that. So what I started to do it with him, and we would like trade cards with each other and stuff like that. Like, hey, what you got? And trade it with each other. And then so we would always like we would trade cards with each other. And that small instance of cheating, like we didn't think anything of it. Like even when we got caught, the consequences were small, but the joy was high. It was high reward, small risk. And the punishment isn't bad. So I think that's part of the reason that cheat is high tends to occur.
So victimless crimes are more ideal because
Okay, so to connect it back to like the real world examples, that cheating was harmless. It was victimless. Like it had a victim kind of because we were guaranteed winning, but like it didn't do any harm really.
yeah, I was saying that like the reason why victimless crimes like seem to be more appealing is that the consequences are so much smaller than like if you were to go and like rob someone's house and have to hurt them in order to get out, because then those are some bad consequences.
So if you're a bad Robert, Chris.
No, I don't know. But like victimless crimes like tax evasion, money laundering, and stuff like that get you in a lot of trouble though. Like the consequences are, I'd say equally as bad. So I think I disagree with
So,
that.
I guess to refocus a little bit, is there any like other real world examples that you guys have that where you cheated and you had that kind of cheater's high sensation?
I think the easiest one is like when I was little, I sucked at board games. So I would cheat. And I would still suck at board games, but it felt better. I didn't suck as bad. And there's the easy ones, you know, you take a couple extra 1s, 5s, 10s, 100s, 500s in Monopoly. You just pick separate cards from Uno. Weighted dice in Yahtzee. The easy, the classics, you know.
Okay, how did you get weighted dice?
Next question.
Wait, so how did you like feel while you were doing those
But
things?
yeah, no, those things, some of them were not real, but some of them were, and the way, you know, little Zach felt was, it was good, you know, it felt good to still lose, but lose not as bad, you know, it brought me from here to here. It was a new emotional high, especially because I never got caught, because I'm just that good. It was something else entirely. It was a new way, even better than almost winning.
I also have a real life example. 'Cause I used to play this game called World of Tanks.
Oh my god.
Where you
To
had
play it.
where you had to shoot other tanks, as the name suggests. And when you shot another tank, you would get rewards. So I downloaded like things that aimed for me in World of Tanks. And then I killed even more tanks than when I didn't have any things that aimed for me, and that made me feel even happier.
So my question for you, really quick, sorry Daniel, is so do you think it was more fun to like not necessarily play as much because the game's playing for you, but you're doing better, or do you think it was more fun to actually play the game and just do okay?
So hold on, real quick, I want to broaden that just a little bit, because we can take that past just Adam's example. Is it better to win or even just lose gracefully, or is it better to use that cheater's high and get to that next level, even though morally it's wrong, but emotionally it feels good?
In my opinion, for me, it was emotionally better when I was cheating, because the advantages it gave me allowed me to progress faster in game 2, which was one of the main points. So that made me feel pretty good. Like when I was just doing just average.
I have another example. When I was little, like I would play these sports games against my friends, and I would set my difficulty to like rookie, and then theirs to really hard, so I would seem like I was so good, but really I wasn't, and it just made me feel like I was so much better than them for some reason, and it was a good feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder on that, because I felt the same way, like, when stuff like that happened, I felt better cheating almost than winning or losing gracefully, which kind of brings me to the next point. If you felt the same way, he felt the same way, I felt the same way, doesn't that mean that, no, I mean, I would say it's a pretty good idea that no matter what, cheater's high is a little bit better than playing gracefully. So why? I mean, I would say it's because, you know, the danger level, it's gets your adrenaline pumping, you go, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, someone's gonna catch me. But it's gotta be more than that, if everyone agrees, because I feel like that's rather small compared to everything else.
Yeah.
It's like going to a bar instead of not going to a bar. I feel like, you know, like you could be one of those people. I mean, you could be one of those people in college who does all of their work and has like good grades, and doesn't go to parties unless they have time. Or one of those people who goes to parties and enjoys like their time there, even though they might like have hangover or something. You know?
I think what Chris is trying to say.
You're bringing us a little bit, we're gonna bring
Yeah.
a little bit closer back. Bring me back a little bit, Chris.
It's like, fuck, what was I gonna say? Okay, the thing is, with cheating, it makes you like feel good. Like, so
You got it.
like the thing with cheating is like we're always compared with others. is the thing. We're not worried about improving ourselves. We're worried about beating the other person. And that's what kind of cheating produces. Like when you lose a game, especially if the person's not a gracious winner, you don't want to lose to that person again. We're focused on just trying to beat them. So if it means coming down to cheating something to win a game, I think that's part of the reason why the cheaters high exists.
Okay, well, drawing off that, I would say like, because no matter what, even if you win gracefully, if you win with a cheat, you're still getting that competitive rush. I think what it is we as humans like to use like cunning. We like to outsmart the other player. We like to use some sort of method that shows, oh, we're thinking outside the box. We're so unique. We're little snowflakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of that comes from cheating. It's so much easier to show that outsmartness, to show that cunning through cheating than through playing fairly. Playing fairly, like let's say you're playing Yahtzee, you play fairly, and the game is, it's like 95% luck. If you cheat, suddenly it's 100% skill because you're trying to not get caught. It comes down to that. It comes down to putting it into your own hands, I think, and rather than just relying on whatever other outside factors, it's outsmarting the other, using that cunning.
Yeah.
So cheat. Oh.
Well, sometimes when you're playing, you literally can't beat them. Like, it's impossible for you. So if you find a different route to get to that level, it can feel really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like cheating, I feel like it's like a shortcut to being good. Like, I have no good example of like, okay, I don't know how you would do this, but let's say you're going up against like a chess grandmaster, and you're really bad, but you've got some pretty cool cheats, and this grandmaster hasn't lost in like 100 games, and some rookie comes up, some like rook comes up, and then you like cheat your way into beating them, and then they don't know, then you'll seem like you're even better than the best. Like cheating is like the shortcut to becoming great.
Yeah, and I think like almost everyone wants to be better than the next person, and cheating is like an easy way to do that.
Yeah. Like with my own experiences, like I know a lot of times where I have put in the hard work and stuff, but you can't put in the hard work into everything. You know, you can't be the best at everything. So cheating is that way of like what you guys were saying, that shortcut to being the best without actually being the best at it. You seem like you are, but you're not actually doing it like the other people are. You're not putting it the time. So it seems like captivating, I guess, to not have to put in the time and to make your way to the top within such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's like the fast pass at Disney.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the handicap space.
Okay, Chris, whatever you
I
say.
don't know if I want easier parking in a disability.
No, it's
Chris.
double parking.
Okay. Well, drawing back to that, clearly, because I want to go back to the text. So, I mean, we all kind of said that cheating is always a little bit better because we're all terrible. Some more than others, Chris. But this particular quote from the article says, though models of ethical decision making use, paraphrasing here because my computer just died, using ethical models like guilt or fear or shame generally discourage a lot of people from doing these activities, cheating, stealing, lying. Where do they come into play? Because we've talked a lot of examples where, cheating, we felt the rush of it, but where does that, it's got to crash at some point, right? So where does that guilt and fear and shame come in?
You get caught.
Yeah, I think it's when you get caught.
Yeah.
Hey, because like
Like
if
when
you're
you get
Okay,
caught.
yeah, it's when you get caught, but go deeper into that.
Yeah.
When you get caught.
Okay, if you're
Okay, so
staying up-
the basis of cheating is that it makes you better than everyone. It makes you happy. But if you get caught cheating, people will know that you're not better than them, and they won't respect you or like you, which is why we cheat.
And then you'll get like shunned, and then you'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
and you'll be like that. You'll be like, oh.
To go a little deeper, maybe it's not even when you get caught, but it could also depend from person to person. If someone has a stronger super ego, like I've seen people cheat before, but they felt bad about it, so they've even told the teacher or person, that they have cheated, that they cheated on. Like, I mean, it's not necessarily stupid. It's them having like a stronger sense of like morality, I guess. Because it's not necessarily morality, but it's not. It's taught that it's not a good thing to cheat. So that's also a situation where like it's not doesn't feel good.
So like once the initial cheating is done, and the id is all the way up here, then like once you stop and you have time to reflect, and the super ego comes back and like looks down on your id, and it's like, boy, you done moved stupid.
I'm glad my super ego seems to be a southern black man.
Oh,
Fantastic.
okay.
But also what I was going to say was with like fear and shame and stuff, does that mean it equals out because you got that emotional high from cheating, but when you eventually get caught, the guilt and the shame, does that make it level out? Because we all still said cheating was, like, if you were to choose between the two, it would be the better one. So what makes it even out? Or is it above? Is it better to cheat? Is it worse? Where's the bar at?
Well,
When you weigh it out?
when you tell the truth, all the guilt that you didn't even know was there kind of is released, and you feel so relieved that you're so open and that's it, I guess.
Well,
Well,
no, you said like you're gonna like go on to like this big thing, and then you.
well, okay, go to like a slightly different topic then. So obviously we say you cheat, which is a high, and then you crash, right? And Chris, you were saying it's because your id's all the way up here. Once you're up here, your super ego has time to reflect. Where actually I think really goes back to the primitiveness of our id, how it's so much stronger than any other part of our brain. Like when in the happiness hypothesis, when I think Socrates or Plato compared it to a wild elephant, right? It's all the way up here. Nothing stops it until finally it stops on its own, and then the super ego backs it up.
So I guess my next kind of question is, why is it that you think some people, such as, what was his name? It was Frank.
Frank. Nice.
Hot sauce.
His super ego didn't start to look down on his id. He continued this to make it worse and worse and worse till it was a federal crime. Why do you guys think that some people have it such that cheating, it doesn't ever really bring them guilt? It only brings them that happiness, that high.
Yeah,
Well,
But he did stop.
Yeah,
After he was
talking
caught.
about it right now.
Yeah, but
well, only
Frank
after he was caught.
forced. Yeah.
He was forced to stop.
Yeah, but even then, Frank was like, "Oh yeah, that was great." Though, like when he was reflecting on it, even though he knew it was wrong, he was like reveling in his like his awesomeness that he felt.
I think
You know?
I don't think you go and write a book about it if you don't feel some sort of guilt and you want to
Yeah.
open it up to everybody else.
I would just like to point out, I don't think that's correct, because you don't have to feel guilt. You know what the book was called? It was called Catch Me If You Can. That's just taunting people. It's just making fun of people. That's what that is.
No, that's a good title. That'll sell well. It's a catchy title, you know.
No, but I think what Zach's trying to get at is he didn't feel any of that while he was committing the act. So I guess it does come back to like, once you do get caught, it goes away. But it didn't necessarily go away. He was forced to stop. I'm sure if he was allowed to continue, he would. So why do you think that this is the case?
And I don't think in this quote from the article he was like reveling it, we're just stating how he felt. I don't think he's like taking pride in it.
Okay.
He's just saying how happy he was.
I have to disagree a little bit, just because like it says the cheat is high. Like, well, I guess I agree with the happiness part, but he was taking pride in it also. Like, why do you think he received this cheater's high?
Yeah, he said it was the most delightful sensation I've ever experienced. And I mean, like, if you taste something, if you taste like the best food that you've ever had, whenever you eat any other food, you'll probably at least think of it like 1 in 10 times. I don't know. It depends on how much you're eating, you know. But I mean, you'll always remember that, right? Because it's like better than your usual like bowl of cereal for lunch, you know.
And on schedule, Chris. Okay, I get that. It really just goes again back to like the super ego thing. You're relying on those sensations that just keep going. Smaller things, the bowl of cereal, it's kind of like your id, right? It's your base. It's what keeps you alive. It's what keeps you going. Then other parts of your brain, things that want more, super ego, and the ego, like the parts that fuel that cheater's high, are what tell you, hey, shoot for more, shoot for greater, do whatever you have to do to get to that higher spot.
That's a dangerous way of thinking.
I'm a dangerous man.
So, I guess this brings to the question of, do you think cheating is good or bad?
Morally
It
bad.
depends.
Morally bad.
Yes.
In terms of outcome, assuming you don't get caught, good. But morally bad. And I would say if you're wearing out the three major things, morally, chances of getting caught, morally bad. Chances of getting caught, 50-50. So overall, it's bad.
Rewards,
Yet,
good.
all of us chose cheating over truthfulness at some point.
So, connecting this bit to real life, everyone's taught as a kid that cheating's bad. It's not a good thing to do. Don't cheat. Like, put in the work. So why do you think like we all agree that like it's not necessarily a super bad thing as it expressed as it is?
What?
I think it all.
Maybe you could.
I think it all really goes back to survival of the fittest, that mindset that if we aren't succeeding, we never will. It's bringing yourself to the top of your game, to be first place, everything, anytime, anywhere. That's why, because I think you've got that authoritative figure, those ingrained messages of, oh, don't cheat, don't steal, but you've also got a far more primitive part of your body that's saying you need to be the best. You are in danger if you're not. You need to be the alpha dog. You need to be the top of everything, or else, what are you? Which is, I think that will always outperform in our minds compared to the other stuff.
Zach, when you said survival of the fittest, it reminded me of the cuttlefish. Like,
That's an odd statement.
No. Okay, I think it's cuttlefish at least, but there's one type that like the males, okay, like the big males obviously mate with the females, right? But
I
then
hope so.
sometimes if there's little males, they'll pretend to be females and they'll tuck in their tentacles. Like when it means that they want to mate with the male.
I don't like the
So then
direction
that
this is
way
going.
they go and then they mate with the female while the big male is trying to mate with them because like, oh, it's a female, they won't mate with the other female. And I was thinking, survival of the fittest. You're cheating.
Okay, no, I think I
I know,
understand.
yeah.
I get the semantics of it. I think I get the idea. It's like, yeah, okay, I think I got
So
it.
it's a bit.
But I can see how that's. It's a very odd example. I can see exactly what.
I just
I
was,
see how that can be like kind of a cheater's high. Not necessarily that they get like the same emotional high that we would, but to survive, to fulfill their purpose in life,
Yeah,
they
that's
have to do it.
Yeah, that's fulfilling their primitive instinct, which is to mate and
Yeah.
reproduce.
Which is
So
survival
that
of the
means-
fittest, which Zach was saying. It was a bit of a weird example.
And but that
But
means
yeah.
that like sometimes do you think sometimes that means that like maybe you just have to cheat. Like if you're fighting a battle that's gonna save your country and the only way to win it is by cheating, like would you pick cheat to save your country? Or would you not and let it all fall and like die to
Well,
bombs?
I think it's
or
a
something, you know?
different. That's a different topic
That's
because you're.
extreme.
No, not just that. Is that cheating? Because it's not for yourself. It's for your. It's for 300
Yeah.
Oh,
million
so
people.
So we're talking about cheating as like just for you.
Yeah, because if you're cheating
Oh, okay,
for
okay.
other people, it's not cheating. It's
It's not morally wrong.
it's not morally wrong.
Yeah,
it's
it's like
putting lives.
So it's
it's,
help.
it's like
Yeah.
charity.
Okay, so
You're
cheating
helping
for
other
other-
people.
So cheating for other people is help.
Like,
Oh.
if you're cheating for the benefit of other
So
people.
cheating for the benefit.
I mean, I
Of
guess
other
this
people?
is really circumstantial. So I mean, it's like if you're taking a test with your friend and you're helping him cheat, you're cheating for him, but he's not like, it's not good. Like,
Yeah.
you're
And actually, now I'm thinking about it, going back to Chris's statement. I mean, if you're saying you're cheating for your country, let's say we're in some war with like. Let's be political for a
Iraq.
second. We're in a war with Iraq, Afghanistan. We're in a war with the Middle East and North Korea at the same time. So if some dire situations, completely hypothetical, you had to cheat, do something to save your country and all the people in it, or save the Middle East and North Korea and everyone in it, everyone would choose, all of us, would choose America. But that's not morally right either. Say, hon, I do. Because even if I'm almost certain America has more lives, so if we're talking about numbers, it's the more more logical thing to do, but you're not doing it because of the numbers. You're doing it because that's your country. And from there, it's an extension of yourself, right? You're just still cheating for yourself as opposed to the other side. So I think, if you're going back to what you said, I would say actually, yeah, it is morally wrong, but I think you wouldn't feel as bad about it as cheating on your own. Because you've got 300 million other people to support you and say, oh yeah, that was a great idea. Plus, you've got the numbers on your side. But even still, in the back of your mind, you know something wasn't right.
It's still not victimless because you're still affecting the people in North Korea.
Ah, yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Now that's him
So-
not victimless.
This goes back to like summarizing all of the points. We think that cheating is not is like it's usually always selfish, right? It's the id that takes control and goes all the way up here, and then it kind of comes down and evens out with the superego, and that's why you feel bad. So why exactly, like after like thinking about everything that we talked about, why do people cheat to make it all more broader? Go back to our original question.
Well, I think we've covered that. I think bring it back. Why do people cheat? They cheat to bring themselves or someone they're affiliated with, their country, their team, whatever, to a higher status. They use that part of the brain that says you have to be at the top. They use that. They say, that's why I need to do whatever I need to do. Even if it's wrong, even if I have to, lie, cheat, steal, no matter what, I have to be number one. I have to be the best, no matter what.
You play to win the game.
So would you say people cheat to feel the cheater's high?
People can, which is another example. So they could cheat to feel the cheater's high, to bring themselves to number one, to be the best, or to deceive. Like I was talking about earlier with cunning and outsmarting. But I feel like those three things are all variations of the same thing. You get the cheater's high. Why do you get the cheater's high?
Because you feel good from benefiting.
Yeah, because you're benefiting
Yeah.
yourself. You're benefiting yourself and you're outsmarting the other person, right? It's just the other two ideas, but on a lower level. That's where it's from. That's where the cheater's high comes from, those two things. So you've got outsmarting others and benefiting yourself. Those are also the same thing. Because if you're benefiting yourself, pretty much no matter what, if you're benefiting yourself, there will be a victim to some extent, right? And to have there be a victim, they have to be outsmarted in some way. They have to be tricked. They have to be played. So you have to deceive the other person and benefit yourself. Those are the same thing too. So it all comes back to really just that primitive idea of benefiting yourself and bringing yourself up. Because it's all the same idea. That, the cheater's high, deceiving others, it's all part of the same general background.